Cleaning has a close relationship with spirituality in many cultures. Hestia, Greek goddess of the hearth fire, was said to bestow blessings on those who had clean and orderly homes. Esther, Germanic goddess of spring, and her maidens collect water from brooks on Easter morning. This water was believed to be sacred and restore the youth of women. The water was also used for washing. In Japan, Osojiar, the big clean, is one of the central cultural values and has its origins in Shintoism, where cleaning was akin to moral purity. In witchcraft, cleaning has metaphorical as well as functional purposes. We clean the altar, take ritual baths, and use salt to clean physically and purify our environment energetically. Modern witchcraft also uses crystals, incense, herbs, and magical aids to cleanse the home, some of which have origins in various shamanic or indigenous traditions. Let's examine the different ways that we can cleanse our home magically around spring, as a way to purify our space and set our intentions for this coming season. Hello and welcome back to Tarot and Torch. Today we are going to be looking at magical spring cleaning. A witch's home is alive. It contains all of the magic, the energy, the intention that is created within it, and also the energies that our bodies are giving off. It is a space that can become a bit stagnant or sometimes a bit stubborn energetically, and as witches, we need to cleanse this space as it is such an integral part of our practice. Coming into a witch's home should feel positive. Wherever you may be staying, no matter how you feel about your space, it is considered an extension of you. Just as the body is a vessel for our soul, our home is a temple for our body and for our spellcraft and spirituality. There are many different ways to incorporate spiritual cleansing into our magical spring cleaning, and I will list just a few of the ways that I have done it, and also things that can be done rather easily without too much time or planning. And you don't certainly need to incorporate all or any of these things. These are just simply ideas to get your own creative juices flowing for what it is that you feel would be best as a cleansing method for your own space. So first, I'd like to examine air purification. When I was growing up, I lived with my grandmother, who was an Aquarius, and she loved letting in fresh air, especially in spring after such a long winter and such stale air has been in the home. She would open up all of the windows and let the beautiful, cool breeze just emerge into the house. And this was something that she did very often, and she would air things out, in her words, where she would take things outside, sometimes towels, blankets, clothes, pillowcases, sheets, things like this, and she would put them in the sunshine and let nature do its job to cleanse the items that she would put out there. Air is such a beautiful way, especially in spring when everything is smelling so clean and fresh, to help to cleanse the energy of the house. Because when you open up windows, you let out the old and the in and the new comes in. And this is true when we are cleansing with some kind of a smoke, such as sage or herbs or woods or resins. We light them, let them smoke and cleanse the house, and then through the window, the negative energy can escape. And we can do this even when we aren't burning those things, as the air itself coming into the home helps to revitalize, helps to refresh the vibrations of a space. It breathes in life. And when we think about air, air is the breath. It is the gasp that we take when we first emerge into this world. And it fills us with a lightness, a feeling of possibility. So this is how air as an element can really change the vibration of our homes. And fresh air, of course, is top tier. It is the best way to elevate the vibration of your home after a long winter. But of course, there are many different ways to do this, again, such as burning any kind of herbs. And this has been done for thousands of years, where people would burn herbs, resins, and different plants in order to cleanse the air. And there have been many studies done on sage, for example, where burning sage has killed bacteria in the air, and this has cleansed the air from any bacteria, insects, certain types of germs. And so this creates an actual cleansing of the air, where the things that we can't see are being burnt up so that we can breathe in clean air. And so this is one of the ways that people have cleansed their home magically. And often it's one of the first things that I like to do after opening up the windows, is to have something burning. And it varies depending on what is needed at the time. So if I'm feeling that there's a lot of negativity in the home, I will take some of my own garden sage that I've grown, and I will burn that. Also, frankincense is another beautiful one to burn, as this is also just a great way to bless a space, but again, it eliminates negative energy and replaces it with a more positive energy. And it creates more of a sacred space when you are burning frankincense. Other ways to cleanse the air are with mists and sprays, and these are things that you can make yourself or that you can purchase. Aura sprays that have some kind of water, essential oils, herbs, crystals even can be placed inside, and you can just mist this around the home. And this is a good way to fill the air with this cleansing water or solution, and to have it dissipate and really get into, the nooks and crannies of the home, just the same way that smoke would, but just with a different medium of the water. And with the sprays, you can also coat things like your bed sheets, your pillows, blankets, and different spaces that may be difficult otherwise to get into. So sprays are a really good way to cleanse the air also, and to really have your space feel lighter, feel more fresh, and have that tangible shift in the heaviness of the actual air and the quality of the air. You can also do this with diffusers. So if you have a water diffuser, you can fill it with the water, add some essential oil. Cleansing essential oils are, like lemon, eucalyptus, thyme, things that have a fresh, clean kind of scent that will also help to kill any germs in the environment or bacteria. It's just a really nice way to start the spring, and also for the home to smell and feel cleaner without actually cleaning it yet. The next step that I like to take, and these can be done in any order, this is just how I do things, is floor washes. Floor washes stem from the hoodoo practice of washing with particular potions, herbs, or vinegar in order to produce a magical or desired effect. Now, as traditional witches, we often use this practice, but differently. I am not an expert on floor washes or on hoodoo or of any of those traditions, but I do use them in my own way. I just tailor the practice towards what I have available and how I feel is best for my own situation. So what I like to do is make an infusion of an herb with whatever magical properties that I am after. So lemongrass is one that I like to use, as it's very cleansing, very positive, and it also just has a really nice, pleasant scent. And some kind of liquid. You can use vinegar, herbal tea, water, or alcohol, just to name a few. And I like to put the liquid inside of a mop container. So if you're using one of the mops that have like a tank on it, you can put it in there, or you can put it in a bucket and use a mop that way with the liquid and just mop it all throughout the floor. And so this not only physically is cleaning the floor, but filling it with the magical intention that you have added. So you could add sweet pea for something like positive energy and friendship and harmony. You could add orange for the positivity, the solar energy, and the joy and happiness that it brings. And you could add, fruit slices. I've done that as well, where you just kind of sort of like Florida water, where you let the fruit slices marinate in this tea or alcohol or vinegar that you are using. And it really does clean the floor, although I would still clean the floor beforehand very well. Before using this, it does also really add a deep cleaning effect to the floor and gets rid of that physical debris. If you have any unwanted visitors that you know are coming or are there currently, you can make sure that they don't return anytime soon by mopping your floor from the back of the house to the front of the house. And this is an old folkloric tradition, usually in more of the traditional witchcraft realm, where you would mop in a certain direction, kind of like using a besom almost, but with a mop instead. And the direction that you are mopping it in does correlate to the action that you are wanting it to have. So this energetically pushes their footprints back out of the door so that they do not easily return. It also helps to clear the space of unwanted energies. So again, if you're having people over and you just feel that it is so heavy and toxic, you can do this at that point or even after they leave. Florida water, as I mentioned, is another really great cleanser that can be used as a floor wash, and this is very easily made. You can take vodka, lemons, and any herbs of your choice. There's a lot of herbs listed in the traditional recipe for Florida water, and florals as well. So you could use roses, you could use hibiscus, anything that you really like that speaks to you on an energetic level. You can look up the associations of the herbs to see which ones are best. And also spices like cinnamon and cloves work really well for Florida water, even though it changes the scent from more of a floral to a spice. I find it smells pleasant, and it also works so well to bring in that positive energy and to add added benefit of clearing negative energy. And to your floor washes, using moon water or sun water that you have charged is incredibly potent. I like to make moon water often when I can, and when I know that the moon is in a particular sign that I feel is very beneficial for a purpose. So for instance, if the moon was in Pisces, for divination work and scrying, when the moon is in Virgo, it is really great for that cleaning effect. So if you are doing this and wanting to make the moon water and haven't done so, moon water made in Virgo is really nice for cleansing. So for cleansing physical spaces. and also in the earth signs in general. So even in Capricorn and Taurus, it is also really a great cleansing water. But any of the moon signs that you particularly resonate with or enjoy the energy of can work for this purpose. So you could take moon water and use it to add to your floor wash, or just use as kind of a base for your floor wash or Florida water and cleanse with it. Or you could just use it by itself instead of whatever water that you would use for your cleaning. Dip a sponge and just wash down surfaces with it, or spray, put it in a spray bottle and use that. Here's an example of a spray that I made quite a while ago, but I do use this every now and then to add to certain things to just fill the space with the energy of it. This one in particular I made for abundance, and it was the full moon in Capricorn. And you can add a few drops of something like witch hazel or alcohol to just preserve the water so it doesn't get strange and moldy and weird. But it works very well for cleansing as long as you're keeping it, preserving it, and using it, and not keeping it too long in a container that may develop bacteria. Another way to energetically cleanse your home is through crystals and grids. So you can place crystals in various parts of your home for different purposes that you have charged or filled your intentions with, and then place the crystal there for that purpose. And you can also make grids where you are putting clusters of crystals together in different patterns, again, to create a specific goal for your cleaning. So cleaning crystals could be things like quartz or citrine or amethyst. These are really good for not only the spiritual clearing, but also it does create that clean energy that you are wanting. So it rids the space of negative energy, provides positive, and keeps the space positive. And it in my experience, spaces that do have that more positive energy just tend to stay cleaner anyway, physically. And another one is rose quartz, is a really great one, and especially in places where you have anything that you want to have beautification. So when places that you are doing your makeup, or places that you want to look especially appealing, you can place the rose quartz there. In the front of the home, so when you first walk in that kind of entryway, placing quartz crystals are excellent at, again, purifying the home and also just creating a vibration as soon as a person enters that kind of cleanses their energy field as well. Salt is one that I don't see a lot of people talking about anymore. It used to be in the witchcraft community that salt was talked about quite a lot for its properties of cleansing and protection. And, the old grannies always used to talk about throwing the salt over your shoulder. It's also in Practical Magic, that famous quote of throwing spilled salt over your shoulder. And while I don't often throw it over my shoulder, I do put it in kind of strewing motions throughout my home. And this has many benefits. It does cleanse the space energetically, and it keeps unwanted things from entering, but it also can keep things like creepy crawlies like spiders and other insects away. Apparently spiders don't like salt. So if you have a space that you particularly wouldn't want spiders in, you can kind of toss it there and they will find a new home. But salt, I have found, is so powerful if you are feeling as though there is some kind of energy that you don't want in the home, whether this is some kind of spirit presence or even people that have just toxicity. Salt is very absorbent. Now, when you vacuum, the salt does go into the vacuum, but it cleanses the space even more when that happens as you are removing it, and then you just need to add more salt. So I don't do this often. I do this maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and that's enough, I find, to really get rid of things. And I made a salt that I imbued with herbs. So I took lemongrass in one, sage in another one, and I believe a mix of the two in a third. And then I used this kind of herbal salt for this purpose, and that worked so incredibly well. I highly recommend that. And the herbs stay well in the salt, so they don't spoil or go, rotten in the salt, because the salt just pulls any moisture out. But it is such a beautiful way to really just add that layer of protection, to add that feeling of sacredness to your space, and to cleanse in places like corners or under desks, in closets, places that are hard to reach benefit from this. And it's very unobtrusive. You don't need a lot of it, just a pinch or a few granules are enough. And you can do this in all the four corners of your home to create kind of a barrier of safety. Another thing I like to place throughout the home is different herbs. So when I use herbs for this purpose of clearing and cleansing, I like to place them in areas that they won't be disturbed. Sometimes I will take a few pieces of dried sage, of dried thyme, something that I find very protective and clearing, and I will put that on top of door ledges, window ledges, sometimes on top of shelves. And cloves are another great way to do this if you don't have any dried herbs that you would use. But taking these dried herbs and placing them in those places creates a kind of a protection in a liminal space where it is protecting doorways or specific areas, and also keeping that positive energy, and again absorbing any kind of negative energy or ridding a space of energy, or just in a way kind of banishing, where it's preventing any kind of negative energy from even being in the space. And so of course it's depending how you are infusing this with your energy and what your intentions are as you place it there. You could draw sigils with your finger, perhaps with some lemon juice or something similar that won't destroy the surface and isn't easily seen. Or you could just place the herbs by themselves and let the herbs do their part with that. And again, this is something I do maybe once or twice a year, usually in the fall, and then again in spring or summer. And then that's really all I find that needs to be done in terms of those herbs being placed in those spots. Liminal spaces are something that I find not only cleanses better, but protects the home better when you do things in those liminal spaces, rather than always putting them in one particular place or room in the house. Flowers and plants are something I find very special. So whether you are using them dried or fresh, placing them in rooms that you are engaging with a lot make a big difference. So of course the kitchen, the living room, and somewhere upstairs I like to put fresh flowers and other types of plants that really help to soak in any kind of negativity and or add positivity. So for instance, roses are extremely high vibrational. They're the most high vibrational plant. So they emit this beautiful energy, and depending on the color of the rose, you can use it for kind of different purposes, but really just placing roses in any room will make it so much more positive when you walk in, to where you're feeling that it's lighter, it's happier, people seem to react better, and it just keeps the space really positive. If there's been some, negativity or discord, placing roses can really help to soothe the energy, calm people, and just bring an overall positive energy. Other plants like green plants are really good for that abundance energy, but also, of course, purifying, because plants do purify the air, which goes back to what we said in the beginning about air needing to circulate and move in the home, being free and clear. Plants help in that way, but also it was said in traditional witchcraft, I remember years ago reading that if you place a plant on your altar or near your altar space, that any kind of negativity directed towards you intentionally would be absorbed by the plant. And I also know that there's other things you can use instead. You can use like an egg, I believe, also, and then if it spoils or cracks before it should, then you know that there's been something sent your way. But plants in general do have this effect where they are very protective and they kind of bond with your energy, and there is something special in the dynamic between a person and a plant when they're caring for the plant. So in any case, it does help to purify the space. It helps the space to be more alive, and it does cleanse the air a bit as well. So it does a lot to keep the life in a home and keep things flowing energetically. And in the same vein, water. So running water is great. I used to have fountains, but really water being used in any form for cleansing in the home can be very powerful. So if you do have things like fountains around or in your home, that would be a beautiful way not only to emit that kind of calming atmosphere, but also to clear the air and also create that humidity for plants and for everyone in the home. But also the sprays that we discussed are really helpful, and also just taking a bowl of water and placing herbs, flowers, crystals inside for a day or so, and using that water for washing either your space or even yourself. You could take it to wash your face or use it for washing clothes, or kind of the same way you would do with a moon or sun water. So water in general is really beautiful for home cleansing and hearth magic and things like that. Because it does have all those properties of water, of cleansing, of clearing. And it's even when you take a shower, as the water is coming down, if you visualize that water as rainbow light cleansing you and washing all over around your aura, that is one of the most powerful ways to start your day without any negative energy that has been building up overnight or has needed to be released for a while. It's done with intention, and the visualization is a great way to begin the day in a positive mode where you are feeling that you're going to attract good energies, you're stepping into positive energies, and anything else is left behind and has went down the drain. Sound healing is another beautiful way to cleanse your home of stagnant energy and to emit positive frequency. So using chimes, like tingsha chimes, or the kind that you strike with a little mallet, or using singing bowls or gongs, or anything that you may have that can create sound vibrations, can be used for sound cleansing. Also bells. So any kind of bell that you have, even old antique bells or little tiny chimes or bells can be used. It doesn't really matter kind of what they were made for, as long as your intention is for cleansing. And likewise, even things like wind chimes can have this effect. And the sound as it's striking and hitting the air is creating this cleansing, this vibration that is shaking out the negative ions, the energies that are around. It has the ability to create positive vibrations that will then fill the space with this healing energy that we are looking for. And again, it doesn't need to be all of these things, so don't feel overwhelmed if this is a lot to consider for, clearing your home for the spring. But these are just some of the ways that you can really start to get your home in a better energetic state, to where you're feeling it's more positive, it's more vibrant, and has let go of any stagnant energy or any difficult energy from that may have accumulated over the winter or recently, and begin on a fresh new start for spring and Ostara and the upcoming season of summer. So I would love to know, what are some things that you do for your magical cleansing? Do you do any of these techniques? Are there others that you use instead? And if you have ever used magic in your spring cleaning. So let me know, and please give a like, subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed, as I will have more videos, and leave any suggestions that you may have for topics. I would love to see them. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you very, very soon.